We're then taking a hiatus from shooting Degrassi, and we'll be taking 8 weeks to shoot our new series, the 6 1-hour series that's now called Highland Gardens. I don't think that will be its final title, but that's its working title for now. And then we'll come back and shoot the final Degrassi episodes. So during that 2 month period, I mean, we can be thinking of names, we can be, but really until we've shot those final episodes, maybe a name will present itself.
Okay. One of the cool things also about season 11 is Alex Johnson, of course, doing the theme song. What was it like to finally get Alex to be part of the show?
Well, it was a thrill, as you can imagine. We, being in the same building as Instant Star for so many years, and you know how intent I was, how devastated I was that we weren't allowed to do a season 5.
Hmm.
We didn't have too much. We had some crossover between the two series. I'm trying to think. Was it even Drake, or then known as Aubrey Graham, and Stacy, who made an appearance at in one of the Instant Star episodes? It was two of the Degrassi
Yeah,
cast.
and Cassie Steele was in it too.
Was Cassie in it? Yes, I'm just forgetting exactly who it was. And also vice versa. I think in one of there was a karaoke
Yes.
type thing in Degrassi where the Degrassians were singing, I think, an Instant Star song.
Yes.
And they also sang a Randy Bachman song as well, like Taking Care of Business or one of those kind of songs. But there wasn't too much crossover. And we didn't want to have too much crossover. I mean, there were two very distinct shows.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, ongoing. I've been such a supporter of Alex's, as you well know.
Hmm.
And so to be able to sneak her back into the Degrassi world in this way, and not just sneak her in, but have her there every episode. And she did such an incredible job singing the theme song. It was a thrill. I mean, as you know, I'm one of the co-writers of the theme song.
Hmm.
And so whenever we do something new, with the theme song. It's a joy to go in the studio and try different things. And this time, as you know, we tried working with a wonderful children's choir, the Canadian Children's Opera Chorus, and we had another singer who was working on it. And it sort of worked, but it wasn't quite there. And we were sitting, and we almost actually mixed that into an episode, and we were trying it. And we just turned to each other and said, it just isn't giving me the lift I want. And that was my opportunity to say, let's get Alex. And really, it was very, very fast. Within 5 days, we had it recorded with Alex's vocal. We already had the beds that Demo had created and the
Hmm.
basic tracks. And it was just gangbusters. We all just absolutely fell in love with it.
Now, on a quick side note, while we're talking about Alex and Instant Star, a few weeks ago on Twitter, someone brought up something about an Instant Star movie of some sorts, and then to a lot of people's surprise, Alex and Corey and you retweeted it, and we're kind of talking about it. Is there any chance ever of some kind of something in regards to
Well,
the show?
we can never say never. I have to say, it's not something that we're secretly working on or that is on the horizon.
Hmm.
It's something that, there could come a time when it's practically possible, but the time is not this year. I know that.
Hmm.
I know there'd be a lot of people who'd be interested, and the question is, can we intrigue a broadcaster or find some other way to do it to make it financially feasible?
Hmm.
And we haven't figured out that way right now. But the fact that we're all so open to it, I think, is encouraging. But I don't want to also hold out false hope. It's not that,
Right,
we're not secretly working on something now.
right. So back to season 11. Kiki Palmer is starring in the season premiere, and you can now add her to the growing list of guest stars on Degrassi. How did she get involved with the show?
She was actually, we'd known that she was a fan of the show. And of course, she had her own show on Nickelodeon. And so Teen Nick suggested, it was their suggestion one day, would you consider working with Kiki? And we chatted with her. She's such a delightful person.
Hmm.
She is so energetic. and she was so into it. And the time that she spent on set, I think it was just 2 days, where we all just really had a thrill. She came up with her father, and I remember having a conversation with her, and she was asking me some of the most detailed questions about, tiny incidents 4 years ago in Degrassi. And as she walked around the set, she said, "Oh, that's where exactly that happened. This is stuff that I would have forgotten a long while ago." And so I was amazed at how into the show she was. And you'll really enjoy her performance. She sings a couple of songs, and I think it integrates into the storyline in a very nice and a nice way. There's a good interaction with Sav. You've seen some of the promo pictures, and they make a really cute couple.
Mm-hmm. So Degrassi was also recently renewed for a 12th season, even before the 11th one has started airing, obviously due to the extremely good ratings in Canada and the US. And as much as everyone wants Degrassi to go on forever, is there ever the time where you're thinking, like, you want to go out on top, you don't want to keep it going? Is there any chance that, I guess sadly, season 12 could possibly be the end?
It's television, and so we can never tell. We carry on. If we ever get the sense that the popularity is waning, yes, you're right. We don't want to go out creaking out just to the last possible episode. We've had a wonderful run.
Yes.
At the end of season 11, we'll be at 277 episodes, and at the end of season 12, we'll have broken through 300. We're not sure, by the way, exactly how many episodes there will be in season 12. We're still working that out, but somewhere in the same range as we've been doing for the past couple of years, so in the 40 to 45 range. And there's no sign now of there's no desire on our part to stop. And as long as the fans keep coming, we keep introducing new characters. I think people will really enjoy the new characters this year. And it's fun to write for them. The writers have a gas writing it. Everybody is so energetic and pumped about doing the series. There's no appetite to quit right now. On the contrary, our slogan is Degrassi forever. But you're right. Forever doesn't mean eking out, the last possible episode. It means, if we start to get some very clear signs that for whatever reason tastes have changed, well, we could think of winding it down at that point. But we're far away from that point now.
So, not that you're going to reveal it, but do you ever think, like, what you would want to do for a series finale? Do you have those thoughts in your mind of something you'd like to take place for the show?
No, genuinely, that thought I've never thought seriously about the series ending, so I've never had any thoughts about what the finale would be. I mean, one thing we have had thoughts about, and I won't talk about what the thoughts are, we've come up with scripts for a Degrassi feature film on a number of occasions, and it's sort of like the app. We get to it, and at the very end, you read the script and you say, "This is great, but why does this story need to be told on the big screen? We could tell this story on the small screen," because we've been able to tell some very, very in-depth stories on the television screen. And so we've always said, well, if we can't write something that must be on the big screen, then let's not do it. And in fact, some of the stories, I think it was back in season 9, a lot of the stories that were there were taken from a script that had been written for the film. And we just said, okay, these are great stories, but we can tell them in the episodes itself. That doesn't need to be a feature film. But the thought still comes back, whether it's a feature film for theatrical release, whether it's a feature film for DVD release. If there is something, and we do have an idea in mind now, it's still at the very earliest of stages of something that we really would not be able to do just in the television context. It really would demand a big screen, or at least some kind of much larger production to accomplish it. And if that comes through, that would not be a finale. In fact, I would see that more as a beginning of hopefully a new franchise in in a different direction. I love Star Trek, and that's where the name The Next Generation came from. And they managed to come up with some movies and keep going on with those. So to answer your question, I hope that answers your question, that there's just no thoughts of what might be in the finale. There's only thoughts of what might be in the next episodes and actually beginnings.
So you earlier in the interview talked again about Highland Gardens, and we talked about it a little bit last year, that you weren't sure if it was going to be a Degrassi spinoff or if anyone from Degrassi would be in it. But then recently it seemed that IMDb confirmed someone from Degrassi would be reprising their role in the show. So is that supposed to be to the public? Is that a rumor, or?
Well, you can't trust everything you read on IMDb or Wiki. And having said that, that doesn't mean that that's either correct or not correct. I just don't want to comment on it. We should be able to say something more. We're in the process this week of doing final casting of the show. And it'll be after then at some point that we can make some kind of announcement. It'll be up to the broadcaster, CTV Much Music, to make the announcement. And at that point, we can confirm who the cast is. I can say that you're right, and we had started out as a potential spinoff for Degrassi. I think it's fair to say that that is not on the table now. Having said that, it's not impossible, but I don't think, I would say it's 99%, if not 99.9% certain that it will not be a spinoff of Degrassi.
Okay. Now, another big thing right now that a lot of people are talking about, I saw you commented on Twitter from someone, the TV Addict, a very popular spoiler website, revealed something about a very unexpected death taking place in the season premiere. And a lot of fans were kind of upset about that, because in minutes it was all over, Tumblr and Twitter, and everyone was talking about it. So how do you feel about, they said supposedly a source from the set told them that. So how do you feel? I mean, nowadays in season 10 and 11, we're finding out all this information from all these different sources, and things are leaking. And how do you feel about the whole Twitter and Tumblr and everything?
Well, let me make two completely different comments on that. And one is on death itself. I'm interested on the Twitter, the number of people that are really wanting a death. And I know it's a small segment of the population, but they seem to feel cheated if there's not some kind of death involved.
Yeah, that takes us back to All Falls Down. I saw a lot of people were yelling at you about All Falls Down, that no one died in it.
Yeah, and that distresses me, because I think the drama that we tell, you don't need something as stark as a death. So I don't want to build up expectations to that segment of the viewers that they're going to have their wish granted. On the question of, and I don't want to build it up as, look for the great death this year, because I don't think that will be a proper reflection of Now or Never. In terms of leaks, some of them work and are good in terms of building up anticipation, and I'm not distressed about this one. I was very distressed at the end of last season when it seemed like almost everything about the final episode was being revealed, and not just being revealed by a leak, but by actual official broadcasters. And, we've sat down with the broadcasters over the break, and I don't think you'll see that degree of spoilers coming from the broadcasters. Some releases, some leaks are good. They just whet the appetite, and I put the TV Addict one in that category. As long as people don't sort of take it and be disappointed if it's not, like a JT kind of moment or a Drake kind of moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so some of it's okay, but there's a limit, and I think by the end of last year, I think we passed that limit.